Hello guys, welcome to video 3 in the tutorial series on Scilab and Xcos. So the last video we mentioned the shortcomings of the console in that it executes one line at a time. Just to revise, so let's say if we have a equals 1 and b equals 2 and we want to know what a plus b is, then we get it like this. So before we move on and show how the SciNotes or the code editor gets rid of this problem by agglomerating your code and running it all at once, I would just like to introduce you to a few more functions. So firstly, I just want to talk about a very simple trigonometric function, sine. So if you want to find out sine of 30, it should be zero point 0.5. But yeah, the problem arises because the default argument of the sine function is in radians. So if you want to find out the sine of 30 degrees, you call the sine d function, right? So that gives you zero point 0.5, right? So that is one thing I wanted to mention. Second is Scilab has built-in numerical constants. So say suppose you want to use pi in an argument, if you want to use pi in a calculation, it does have the value of pi. So if you have to access these predefined numerical constants, just write a percentage followed by the name, percent pi gives you the value. Uh, so I think, yeah, these are pretty much the commands I wanted to introduce you to. Uh, oh yes, one more function I want to introduce you to. Since uh, it will do you good to know that Scilab is based on a back end of matrix multiplication. So it's mainly a matrix based software, not very much unlike MATLAB. So a function I'd like to introduce you to is Linspace, which means the points are linearly spaced. So Linspace is nothing but short for linearly spaced. So let's define a matrix A. We'll call Linspace. Now, the way this function is numbered is in Linspace, you have three arguments. So, the first argument is your starting point. So, let's say I want each integer between 1 and 10. So, I'll start from 1, I'll separate it by a comma, and then I'll type in the last element of my matrix. And then I'll tell him how much, like what are the number of values that we want. So I'll want 10, right? So let's see what happens. So as you've seen that this is a simple row matrix, right? So if we go to the variable browser as well, you'll see that A is a 1 cross 10 um, row matrix, right? So again, if we just want to transpose a matrix, you can easily do that by just writing the name of the matrix and suffixing it with a single quote, right? So we have transposed the row matrix into a column matrix right now, right? So okay, going on to the SciNotes. Now, if you don't have the SciNotes open, don't worry. Just go to Applications, click on SciNotes, and you'll come to this. So in SciNotes, what we can do is we can type in a chunk of code and then wait for it to solve. So we can say x equals 5, y equals 4. So we want to find out z equals x plus y, and we want to print out z. So this is the option for printing it out, display, right? So here up in the menu bar you will see an option of execute and then save and execute. So you won't be allowed to execute your script unless you've saved it, so click save and execute. So after you see it's run, we've got our answer here, 9. But if you want to make it slightly more interactive, if you want to take some user inputs, then you can easily go back here. And this is an option, a function you use for taking values from the user. So within inputs, you want the prompt message to be written. Enter a number. Okay. And let's say, okay, we take a number, we add 4 to it, and then we print it out. So now if we save and execute, okay, now you see that we have this prompt right here. So let's enter a number 6. And yes, we do get the output. Right. So this is pretty simple. I just wanted to I just wanted to highlight the differences of the notes editor with the console itself. And yeah, okay, so I'll just show you a couple of matrix operations more. So let's say we've defined A to be a linspace. Let's take the one we started with initially, okay? Okay, by the way, if we leave this empty, the default value for the number of values is 100. So if we just leave it like this, so you see you have a row vector with 100 columns, right? And the last value is obviously 10. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead with A equals linspace 1 to 10 and 10 values, right? So if we write this, so what happens is it will subtract 2 from each element of the row matrix. So this is what we'll be left with, right? But A is retained, okay, because we haven't stored this in any variable, and so it goes to the buffer variable as we've discussed in the first video, right? So and also matrix exponentiation also works the same way. Yeah, so you have the squares of all the values. And at any point in your notes editor, if you want to involve or include comments, right, so you can do that by these double slashes, and anything following that on a line will be treated as a comment. So sum of variables. Okay, and if you want to have a multi-line comment, then you can have it like this. You have a right, so in between whatever you write, program to add code to input. So yeah, everything will be as is and nothing will be changed. So if we save and execute, we're asked for a prompt. Enter a number. Let's enter 5. We get 9. Nothing's changed. So these are how you have single line and multi-line comments. Thank you so much for watching.